Hello, this is Banter City. I just finished reading the book Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, and I'm not gonna review this book right now. I'm just gonna share a few thoughts that I had while reading this book, and just gonna give you a brief overview of this book because I'm really bad at reviewing. Honest opinion, or rather, I'm just being honest. Okay. So this is a really cool book, I must tell you. Read it at all costs if you are a big fan of movies like The Matrix, Equilibrium, and things wherein there's a virtual world, or if you are interested in futuristic novels or movies. This book is a must read. Aldous Huxley, I love this guy. This guy has produced something that I have completely savored. So, this book is a classic, and it is rightly so. So, the book starts out with scenes from a future world, presumably after, say, World War III. After World War III, the world that people are living in is called, I think it was a world order or world state, and it is controlled by 10 world controllers. And the area in which the book focuses upon is London, which comes under Western Europe, and which is being ruled by controller Mustafa Mond. Like every other different portion of the world, this too has a factory. It's called a conditioning center wherein humans are manufactured. You heard me right, no more humans being born. Each and every human is being manufactured. The sperm and egg are placed in different test tubes and mixed up through some mechanical means. Everything is machinery, although there are a lot of humans working there and attempting to condition the embryo to different predestinations, to different forms. So they are conditioning the embryo to give them different social conditionings. For example, there's alpha, there's beta, there is delta, there is epsilon, there is gamma. So these are the different castes. There are plus, minus, and subtypes too, but let's focus on the basic castes. So these are the different castes, and based on these castes, these different young newborn humans will choose their future professions. So right from the start, right from a young age, even before they're born, and even while they're in their fetuses, even when they're just forming, barely forming, they're conditioned, and this conditioning causes them to be much more receptive to the environment they are placed under. And there's also processes called volcanoscification, using which these embryos or whatever, these pre-humans or pre-human eggs are being divided, and thereby producing more and more identical humans. And this process can last up to 84 identical humans, which is a marvelous feat. And what are they going to do with these 84? Well, they're going to put it in a factory to work through different machines. So this is how the future society has been modeled, and each and every individual is conditioned based on the future role he has been predestined for, so that there is no conflict in the future, there is no pain or resistance in conforming to whatever he is supposed to do, which is a brilliant strategy by the world controllers to prevent chaos. The motto, the slogan, or yes, you can say the motto of the new world order is community, identity, stability. Or I think it's the other way around: stability, identity, community. Everything is done to keep the community stable and the individual as well. So this story kicks off in the conditioning center where the director is lecturing the new batch of students, and then we come across a couple of characters who are the most important, who are the central characters to the plot. There's Bernard Marx and there is Lenina Crown. So Bernard and Lenina. And yes, I forgot to tell you, there is no repressions in this new world, in this brave new world. That means people can have anyone they want, and everything is looked after. There is no fear of pregnancy or any kind of stuff. There is no old age. People can work till they go weak and then they will die. There is no old age, there is no misery. Everything is taken care of by scientific progress. So it's like heaven on earth, isn't it? Except for people like Bernard Marx, who are products of mismanagement. So sometimes when these workers are working in the predestination or conditioning centers, there is some human error occurs. In case of Bernard Marx, his blood got mixed by some proportion of alcohol. So what happens is, when they are creating morons and subhuman workers, the people of low caste, they purposely condition them to make them dim-witted and having poor physical characteristics, so that they don't rise up the social rank, so that they don't feel bad for being subjected to that sort of work. So it's a bit of a lopsided world, and any world that any political leader tries to organize will have a hierarchy, and the challenge is to make everybody satisfied in the hierarchy, which has been achieved smoothly. And there's one more thing I'd like to say, is that in any case, if someone faces any sort of discrepancy, there is this drug which is called soma. Upon consuming it, people are going to feel elated, and there are no side effects too. The only thing that I can equate soma to is LSD, which I haven't consumed, but I've read about its effects, which seem to be congruent with that of LSD. So yes, you've got LSD, aka soma, and it's going to make you feel in a state of high, hallucinatory peace, bliss, transcendence, and it's going to take you out from the existential pain and suffering and crisis, whatever. And also, there's no marriage in this brave new world, so you can fuck whoever you want to be and live with whoever you want to be, and there is no concept of love. So yes, you have to keep switching partners, and if you get hung over a particular partner, take the soma and cut yourself off from reality. So here we have Bernard Marx. Because of alcohol mixing in his blood, and this thought is always on his mind, because of which, even after being an alpha, he's not having the size of typical alpha guys. So he feels isolated, and this idea that he had alcohol mixed in his blood, this puts him in a position of inferiority, and this inferiority creates complexes in his mind, which constantly puts him in a bad state, and thus he remains in a tortured mental state almost all the time, and thus he fears asking out women, which his peers easily ask out and have fun. But even though he's had fun with a couple of women, he really wants to ask out Lenina Crown, but fears. However, Lenina Crown does find him attractive in some manner and asks him out, and they eventually go to a place called the Reservations, which is outside the confines of this brave new world which has been created at one part of the world. So outside, that is in the places called reservations, the people who live are basically like tribals. So these tribals have a different language, and they live in like the good old way of living like we are living, with monogamy, with religion, with different customs, traditions, superstitions, and with a lot of pain, disease, old age, misery, and all this stuff. And they marry, they have children, they procreate. So all these things were absent, all this pain and misery and unforeseen suffering were absent in our brave new world. All these are present here. And so these people just, Bernard and Lenina just try to visit these people as a kind of a vacation. And in this vacation, due to some circumstances which I will not tell you because it will be technically a spoiler, they befriend a savage or a guy called John who speaks the language of both English as well as the language of the tribals. So they take him back to the brave new world, and this guy has read Shakespeare and everyone, so that's why he knows English. So they take him to the brave new world, and he finds it really difficult to fit into the new mold of the world. The biggest hurdle in fitting in is his religion. Even when Lenina Crown tries to approach him for sex, he denies because he fears, he feels guilty, he feels impure, and he starts to call her a whore. And a lot of things happen. I'm not going to tell you anything from here because this is where the real story unfolds of a man who is conditioned to be in a different society, put in a completely different society, devoid of any misery. Even then he still feels uncomfortable. He feels nauseated by this existence, even when it's heaven. And then we have a couple of chapters where the world controller, Mustafa Mond, who's the controller of Western Europe, has some talks with Bernard Marx, his friend, and the savage that they've brought from the reservation. My dear friends, those chapters are the most valuable chapters. They have so much wisdom that they have. That's like the blueprint of this entire conditioning system, and that will make you accept that why conditioning is good. Despite that, some people don't want to be part of this conditioning. Some people just want to experiment, so they are sent off to a different place, which I'm not going to tell you. So guys, read the book and find out what really happens in those chapters, and for a much wider exploration of the brave new world. This book is a 5 out of 5 in my opinion. Read the book and tell me what you think about it in the comment section. Banter City signing off. Much love. Thanks for watching.